Okay, so I'm going to talk about images and how to do the best job that you can when you're adding images to your website. So there are just a few steps, and it can really save you time and also really help your website perform better, both for the user and also for SEO. So introducing myself, you all know me. And the first and most important thing is to choose photos that are helpful, that are good, that have a focal point, that tell a story, that it's not just an empty room or a bunch of people in the room with their backs to you. You want to choose photos that have a focus and that communicate a message. You also want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening with the image when it's placed on the page. So this is a great photo, but they put their donate button right over the faces. So that means looking at your website on all different screen sizes to see where the text or the button or whatever might be over top of the image is appearing, and edit the button so that it doesn't cover up a face. Here's some examples of where it's being done well. So the overlay text is not competing with the image. The image has nice focus. Even this one that has a mask on, you can tell that he's smiling and happy. And then you want to make sure that once you've chosen that photo, that you've cropped it and that you've optimized it. Since you guys are having us help you with your website, I can't remember what plan you're on, but we can help you with this as well, but I'm going to show you how to do it yourself. So you want to start by cropping out unnecessary areas of the photo. So in this case, we've got this big area here behind this person that's just wasted space. We see the ceiling. There's kind of just a lot of distracting information. So I want to crop into the focus of this picture. So I'm going to crop that. And if the space on my website is a horizontal space, this image won't really work. So you want to choose photos that are in alignment with the space that you're putting them into. So obviously this would be a vertical space. I'm going to show you how to do this with Canva. So you're going to, do you use Canva? Yeah. So when you go into Canva, you're going to create a custom size. And on your website, you probably have information. I know Bridges has information on what image sizes are used where. So let's say you have a staff member that you're adding or you're changing out their photo, and the instructions are to make that 600 by 600 pixels. Well, if you have a vertical picture and you upload that, it might crop it in a weird way. So you want to actually upload it as a square that's 600 by 600 pixels. So in Canva, you're going to go in and you're going to choose custom size. When you go to create a new project, you'll create custom size. And then you'll put in your custom size there, 600 by 600, and say create new design. What that's going to do is give you a blank canvas that's 600 by 600. So here I have the blank canvas. And then I'm going to upload my picture and I'm going to drag it onto that space, or I think when you click it, it actually places it there. And then you're going to just grab the corner and make it fit into that square. And you can see where it's going to crop me here. So I could hold that and drag it down so that it doesn't cut my head off. But I want to make sure I fit it into that space. So if you're using this custom size, it allows you to really accurately have an image that's properly sized and oriented for the space on your website. If you're not sure what the size is, you can go into your media library and see what the image size is for other images that are in that space. For a photograph, you want to use a JPEG format. That's because it's going to be not as large of a file, and it doesn't need the kind of pixels that an icon or a logo would need. For a logo or an icon, we recommend using an SVG file, which is probably something that you can't create. So as an alternative, the next best thing is a PNG file, which will, if it has a transparent background, it will allow you to have a transparent background and is a bit crisper than a JPEG would be. And then the quality from Canva, you can export it at 80% quality. And then you're going to download that. Once you've downloaded that image, you're just about there. I like to use a tool called TinyPNG. It's a website that you go to, tinypng.com. And then you just drag that image into this little box and it will compress it more so that it's taking up even less space on your page and not slowing your page performance down. You can see here, my original image was reduced by about half by using this tool. And then the last thing is, once you've done that, first you want to make sure that you give it a title that's descriptive of what the image is, just so you can find it more easily. Don't call it IMG_65232 or something like that. That's not going to be helpful when you're looking for it. It's also not going to be helpful in the code of the site because it doesn't know what that is. So I would title it maybe for the name of the page or something, so you know where it's going. And then you can use alt text in WordPress. It's in the side area, the right-hand side. There's the image settings. If anyone isn't using WordPress, there should be a space for the image where you can put in the alt text. That stands for alternative text. And it's used by screen readers. So for people who can't see the image, they use a tool that's a screen reader that reads to them what's on the page. Since it can't see the picture, we need to describe what the picture is of. So I wouldn't, in this case, say this is a picture of a cat and a dog playing, right? That's a picture of a man standing on his head, and it's being used to convey a certain message. So you can make this long if you want to, or you can make it short, but it's important for that accessibility for people who need a screen reader. It's also used if you have ever seen an image that doesn't load, perhaps it's missing, or for some reason your Wi-Fi isn't good or something like that. It will also explain, it will pop up this description instead of the image. And then the last reason to use alt text is for SEO. So it's an opportunity to use keywords to help Google understand what your website is about. So for you, you might say, social services, family receiving social services in Arlington, Virginia, as your alt text, if that's what your photograph is of, because that will help if people are looking for social services in Arlington, Virginia, that will help your website rank for that term. Can't guarantee it, but it will help. You guys have any questions? All right. You can see if you right click on any website or on your website and you click view source. So if I right click, you have to have, I think, developer tools on, but you can go to view page source, and that will pull up all of the code on your web page. So in this case, it's a big mess of gobbledygook here, but if I drill down and I look, I can see here, this is the image. So it's telling me this is the URL of the image. And then here's the alt text. So that's what it looks like to Google and a screen reader. And in the code, you can actually look to make sure it's there. And that's it. Quick and easy way to make sure that you're using images properly on your website. Do you have any questions?
I have a question, but I've just always been curious about this because we do use Canva. Can you explain the pixels, just working with pixel dimensions versus if I wanted to set it using inches, and I think it's millimeters, and I get confused with that. So why do we work with, I just want to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great question. So inches are used most often for print. So we don't use inches on the web because screen sizes are different. So we use pixels. That is every dot that makes up a space on your screen is a pixel. So that's a unit of measurement that's consistent across screens. So if I say my image is 600 pixels by 600 pixels, you can convert that to inches if you're curious about that. But for the web, we always use pixels for image sizes.
Okay, so I'll remember that. So websites, they have to use the pixels versus if we're using the Canva platform.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Use pixels. Okay.
Yep. And I think you can toggle between them too. So you could change it out. that way. It's pretty easy to move between the two. So yeah, so you'll use pixels for website images. And then the
Oh.
other aspect of the image size is the dots per inch. So
Oh.
a resolution, you'll see when, let me see if I have this in my screenshot here. It's not showing me this here, but the quality is going to be really related to the dots per inch. When you're printing something, you're, let's say you have a photograph and you're taking it to the photo printer at CVS to print it. It's going to be large. So it's going to be about probably at least 3,000 pixels wide. Well, if you have a laptop screen is about 1,200 pixels wide. So you don't ever need a photograph that's 3,000 pixels wide for your website, but it's also going to have a very high resolution. That means the dots per inch is probably 300. On a website, we only need 72 dots per inch, which makes the website file size a lot smaller. So if you took a photo from your phone and you just uploaded it to your website, chances are it's going to be 3,000 pixels wide and 300 dots per inch, which is way, way, way bigger than what we need. It's also probably going to be 3 megabytes in terms of a size. And what we try to aim for on a website image is under 100. So you can see here, this is 65.7 kilobytes. That's less than a megabyte. It started out, before I compressed it, it started out as 141 kilobytes. If I upload a photo from my phone, and I see clients do this all the time, it will be about 3 megabytes. And if you inspect, if you think your website might be loading slowly, if you inspect it, you can see if your image is 3 megabytes and we're trying to keep them under 100 kilobytes, think about how many images you could have for that same amount of memory.